the title, you know what this video is about. Let's cut right to the chase. I'm giving you guys, a little tea on me. Know how I make my moolah. Corny. I also wanted to encourage some girls who wanted to look into being a lash tech, confused, don't know how much they make, how much you can really get paid doing this, because it's a real good business and you can be so successful in it. People just don't know that. Some girls do, but a lot of men do not. So I know when I tell them I'm a lash tech, they're like, oh really? Like, how do you afford your rent? Baby, I make more than you. Don't try me. I just want to give you guys a little backstory of my life. I'm not going to give you guys too much. I'll probably make another video if you guys are interested. Let me know. I want to tell you basically jobs I was doing beforehand and how I got into doing lashing, first of all. I remember when I had first moved back from Nigeria when I was, I think, 16, 17. So when I moved back to America, I was in Washington State. And it was a hot mess. I don't recommend. Washington State, this little town called Pullman, and I hated it, so I couldn't wait to graduate so I could just move. Because I hated it so much. I never paid attention in school. Senior year, I was like, I don't know what I wanted to do. Like, people were writing application letters to their schools they wanted to go to, and I wasn't doing that. They would ask me all the time, and I really thought about my life, and I was like, what did I want to do? One day, I won't say it's a vision board. It was like a board, right? And I wrote where I see myself in 5 years. And I had wrote, I wanted to be an esthetician. I wrote, I will be living in Atlanta, Georgia. I wrote, I will be a millionaire. I wrote, I would open a business, and I think that's all I wrote. I remember when I wrote this, and the person I was living with at the time, she was an older lady that was helping take care of me and my sister at that time. She was like, that's where you see yourself in 5 years? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, I just think it's a little overzealous. I just feel like it's a little too much for 5 years. First of all, you don't tell anyone, whether it's someone young like that or even someone older, that their vision or what they see for themselves in 5 years is a little too much. It might be too much for you, sadly. It doesn't mean it wouldn't happen for somebody else. There's a lot of people that even overnight they become millionaires. Overnight they accomplish their dreams. There's no limit to anything. Actually, the more delusional you are, you get farther in life than being some negative Nancy. The more you believe in yourself, the more you become successful. Look at any successful person. You see that. So when she had told me that, it hurt my feelings. So I just looked at it, thought of it in my head, what I wanted, and I just took it down, and that was it. After high school, I definitely knew I wanted to leave there. So I was thinking where I would move to. At first I said I wanted to move to Atlanta. Another negative person was telling me, oh, why would you want to move to Atlanta? You can't afford it, or something like that. Like, because they said, where in Atlanta would you want to move to? I said I wanted to move to Buckhead, and I said I wanted to go to esthetician school, Aveda Institute. And they're like, so you wanted to move to Atlanta to be a beautician? Oh, I wouldn't recommend, or oh, you wouldn't be able to afford your rent. And I was believing this and taking all of this in. Guys, guess where I ended up moving to after high school? New York, by myself. New York, Atlanta. So I was able to afford New York, but tell me I'm not able to afford Atlanta. Everything happens for a reason, though. Anyways, I ended up moving to New York, and I was always asking myself, like, why didn't I move to where I wanted to move to? But I love New York. It was good while it lasted. I met, friends. Some of them I still talk to today. And when I was there, I was working in the hospital. Something happened over there with my job, and I had to skedaddle. And I just went through a lot of life experience there. It was terrible. So I was looking for jobs everywhere. I even tried to work even at Bloomingdale's, which is crazy. And I'm saying that's crazy because I'll get to that later. People are telling me not to. They don't get paid over there. I ended up not trying. I even applied to be a flight attendant. I just couldn't get a job fast enough as how I wanted, because I needed to be out of there ASAP. So I told my sister at the time, she was living in California, what I was going through. And she told me, like, oh, I have a spot, in California, you can move to, just move here, whenever you want to. And I was like, oh, really? Well, I'm going to put my 2 weeks notice today. She's like, are you sure? I'm like, girl, I need to get out of here. I'm out. Like, You don't have to tell me twice. So I put my 2 weeks notice that day, and I literally left with one luggage. I didn't take anything with me. Everything happens for a reason. I went through that for a reason. I went through that to get stronger mentally and to grow. My plan was to find a job, and I was thinking, what can I do? My sister was a babysitter at the time. She told me she'd put me onto the job, and she gave me information about the job, put me onto this app, and I was trying it at first and no one was hiring me, so I'm like, I need to find something ASAP. Where I lived was close to the mall, and I ended up going to the mall and applying to Bloomingdale's like I wanted to do in New York. Mind you, I'm here like, oh, I'm just gonna do Bloomingdale's for a couple of months until I find something that could pay me well. When I applied to this place, they told me they were gonna pay me $23 an hour and plus commission. So to me, I was like, of course I'm gonna take it. Yeah, that was way more than what I thought. I thought they would pay me like less, but then I realized, the Bay Area is really expensive. So I start the job. This is where I meet my best friend. I take the job and start orientation. I met her, we hit it off real quick, and she had told me one time she's gonna go follow her friend to get her lashes done. I used to get my lashes done all the time in New York. I was like, oh, who's your lash girl? And she showed me, where she was gonna go get her lashes done. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go get my lashes done too. And she was like, oh, she's been thinking about like trying to do lash extensions. I was like, as a job? She was like, yeah. And I was thinking like, I know I was always interested, like even when I would get my lashes done in New York, I would ask them like, how much was the certification? Just something like, oh, 500, whatever. And I was just like, 500 to do this? No. Once she told me, I just had this feeling like I needed to do this. So I was like, yeah, I'm interested. And something about me is I'm impulsive. If I want to do something, I'm doing it. I don't care. And I'm doing it that day. So I'm like, yeah, I'm about to look up where I can get this course. I look up places. I was supposed to be visiting Atlanta in I think the next month. So I found someone who I could learn from. Booked the course with her. When I visited Atlanta, I took my course and I was certified. Now you know the backstory. Let's get on to like where the main story begins. So after I learned how to do lash extensions, it wasn't all that easy. You just don't up and get clients, although I was, because my prices were really low and I was getting like a few people here and there, so I was happy about that. I wanted to get an esthetician license that I said I wanted to do in the first place. I wanted to get this just so I could have it under my belt. It just makes you look a little more professional when you're doing lash extensions. So I was like, I wanted to do this, and plus I just wanted to go to school too because I didn't go to university or anything or college, so I just felt empty. I just wanted to do something with myself. I ended up going to beauty school, doing lash extensions on the side, and then still working at Bloomingdale's. So it was really a lot for me, and I started to really hate my job at Bloomingdale's because that's not really what I wanted to do in the first place. I just wanted to focus on doing lashes because even though it was hard to do at first, I actually really loved it. Like, it was just so relaxing to me, and I just knew I would be big. I just knew that this was for me. When you do something and you have that feeling, like, you need to stick to that. You need to do what your mind is telling you. I was getting tired of going to school, doing lashes, and work at Bloomingdale's. It was just too much for me. I was living in Oakland at that time, and I was going all the way to San Francisco to go to Bloomingdale's. It was just no. And then my beauty school was all the way in Alameda. So I'm like going all across. It's like a triangle. Why? I was like, okay, I have to focus on doing lashes because I really wanted to do it anyways. I loved doing it. On top of that, I knew I had so much more potential. I wanted to just blow. I needed to put my all into it. I didn't know what to do. I was stressing about it, like, how am I just gonna jump into just doing lashes just like that? I'm paying for school. I can't just afford to just risk stuff. I was wondering how I was gonna pay my rent. At that time, I was making enough for rent, but you could say living paycheck to paycheck because I barely had money saved. I didn't have money saved, so it was really hard. I had to make that decision. I had to push myself because I'm like, I don't want to be like this. I'm getting older. I don't want to be like people my age is just living life any type of way. I wanted to have generational wealth. I wanted to just be secure for months to come. Am I going to be able to travel when I want, to get the apartment I want? Because I have good taste, really good taste. So I'm not going to be waiting on somebody to give me what I want. Yeah, that'd be nice to have someone to give me what I want. But if I don't have it right now, what am I going to do? Just sit down and wait and not live my life? I have to live my life regardless. So I'm going to get what I want. and then if you want to come into my life, you have to add to that. So I knew that I was graduating in like a month, and I told myself right after graduation, I'm going to save enough for my rent for the next month, and I give myself 1 month, and I'm going to make sure I get a clientele. I didn't care. I saved for 1 month rent. I was so nervous. I feel like most people work better when their back is against the wall. That's me too, but I need to actually stop putting myself in situations, because when my back is not against the wall, I just end up doing whatever. Anyways, I got business cards. I passed out to anybody I could see. I hit up people on Instagram to do for free. Instagram ads, everything. We don't have to get too much into that. I could get into that later when I'm telling you guys, you know, tips and tricks. I swear to you guys that I got that clientele. After a while, I ended up quitting my Bloomingdale's job, and I just focused on doing lash extensions and going to school. Once school finished, I was like, okay, finally I can take my lashing to the next step. By this time, I still hadn't had like a huge clientele yet. I hadn't like enough to like pay rent, but I still wanted more. At that time, I was seeing a lot of like moving to Atlanta vlogs, and I was like, I've been wanting to move to Atlanta. My friend also, she lived in Atlanta, and we would talk all the time about me moving to Atlanta. I wanted to come out there. She wanted me to come out here too. I was like, I want to move out there because I want to see her, and I have a friend at least over there that I've known all my whole life. Everything that I wrote down was coming to pass. Every time I would watch moving vlogs to Atlanta, I had this happy feeling. Everyone knew I hated the Bay Area. I feel like I was there for no distractions, to get into lashing, to get my esthetician license, and to focus on myself and my life and what I wanted. Every city I lived in just helped me to grow a little more in a certain aspect. It's crazy. That December, I visited Atlanta. I was chilling with my friend, you know, to see a little more of the city. I started to look for apartments. I got an apartment. I applied. I came back to the Bay Area. I swear to you guys, I sat down. I did not eat out. I didn't do shit but work, and I saved $10,000 in 3 months just doing lashes. When I say I was booked every day, I mean every day. I didn't have an off day. For how many months I didn't have an off day? All I would do is just eat, work, sleep. Like I did not have a life. That was my motivation. I said, I'm moving to this city. I want to be happy. I couldn't believe it that I could do that. After I saved all my money, I got my ass up and I moved to Atlanta. Once I moved to Atlanta, it wasn't even hard for me to get clientele either. Once I moved to Atlanta, I already was booked. I just don't understand how things are happening for me. Like, I just keep thanking God and praying. I was booked. And mind you, I moved to Atlanta March 2020, right when the pandemic hit. So I was so scared. Thank God I had like money saved, you know, before I moved. But even with that, like, I'm like, okay, I don't know when this will end. Am I safe? Am I okay? I was more than okay. After 2020, all of that, 2021 is when everything like skyrocketed. Like the amount of money that I was seeing $10,000 a month, $12,000. I was like, what? Then this year hit, and I'm seeing 20, 25. Guys, I'm not one of those lash techs that post. I do not even post on my lash page. I'm not one of those lash techs that have a YouTube channel for her lashes, as you can see. This is my YouTube channel. I'm not one of those lash techs that sell lash products or anything. I don't do anything but sit down and do lashes. If I can just do that and make the amount that I'm making, why can't you? You can do the same exact thing. I'm not doing much, and that is just what goes into my accounts. I obviously get cash too, and I don't always deposit my cash into my account. So that money is not including my cash, it's not including tips, it's not including money from these men. None of that. Don't sleep on being a lash tech. If you guys are interested in seeing how I do lashes, if you guys are interested in seeing like daily vlogs of me doing lash extensions, if you guys want to see me giving tips for lashes, anything you guys want to see, let me know in the comments below. That's how I know if you guys actually watch this video. Don't forget, babes, you can do anything you want to do. Don't let anyone tell you no. always prove them wrong. Thank you guys so much for watching. Love you. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you want the full story on my background of how I started doing lashes.